It's good afternoon and welcome to Something About Being Out. Here in the bedroom, tackle room, whatever you want to call it today. Here I have a Shimano 2500 bait runner. It's an ST 2500 bait runner. That's your bait runner. Front reel drag. And that's to tighten. That tightens, that loosens your bait runner. Comes with one spool. That's got Daiwa sensor. I'm pretty sure that that's around £10-ish, and then I can go to a lighter hook length. So I use this in comparison with a 10-foot rod. Right. I have a 10-foot, 12-foot, 13-foot float rods are too long for me because I'm only small. So this is what I'm using at the moment, and it's a 10-foot Daiwa Ninja Match. It's a 2-piece 10-foot rod. I keep this one in the rod bag. So this is a Daiwa Ninja Match 10 PW, whatever PW means. Power 1, what, I don't know. So if you can see it here, it's a nice slim little blank Ninja with your screw-in reel seat. And when you marry these up with your 10-foot rod, I've used this on the river. It was absolutely fine for me. Probably a little bit short if you're fishing really deep water, but I can use the method. The method which is slider to if I go any deeper, but I tend not to. People were saying that you can catch trotting not just at your rod tip, so I'm not going to set this up, but this is the 10-foot rod. I've had carp to well over double figures on this, and it handles them really well. It's when he originally bought it, the combo was with a Ninja reel, which there's nothing wrong with the Ninja reel. I just put the Shimano on there and it just balances it really nice. So I'll take this reel off. There's also a nice little clip there so you don't have to hook into your eye-rings. So yeah, so that's what I'll use for doing a little bit of trotting. So yeah, and when you feed trotting, they will come up in the water, and when you fish in the slacks, it's not actually that deep. People say it's a lot deeper. It probably is further out in the main flow of the river, but I plumbed up close in and I haven't had a problem. As long as you've got enough line on your reel and you've got balanced tackle and everything, I can cast halfway across the river, no problem. And I don't really need to be casting any further than that, because they say when it gets flooded, the fish come into the near side margin anyway. They say that it's too fast flowing for the fish on the far side. So, right. I've made some particle with some tears in there and some maize and stuff. I've cooked that through twice. I'm going to use that tomorrow for doing a bit of stick float fishing. Tomorrow is going to be a variety day. I'm going to do stick float fishing. I'm going to probably get some worms after. I've got some bread, so I can do a bit of stick float fishing and see how we get on. I also want to, if I get there early tomorrow, I'll probably start off fishing for the barbel for a few hours from dark into first light if I set off early. And all I've cooked them on was in a pan on the primer stove. I just put the click on. Oh, why it's doing that? See if that'll screw back on. Hopefully that'll have stopped it. Stop any problems. So yeah, that's my 10-foot rod that I'll use for trotting. Married up to the Shimano ST 2500. I am not a sponsored angler. I used to be a little bit, but not really. I used to get tackle from reps and things like that. Right, so this is my main barbel rod. And this is a Power Mesh B2. I do believe that is £1.75. 2134B, whatever that is. It's 12 foot and it's a PMS 134B BU. And reading that, you would say it's 2 3/4. I thought it was £1.75, but that might explain a lot. I'll just check this. Just have a quick check on the computer. What test curve is Power Mesh 2134D. Yes, just double checking actually. I thought this was heavier, but this rod is £1.75 and more than ample for the riverine fishing. If I need to go any stronger than that, if the river's up or anything, I'll use these, which is a carp rod, and go to 2 3/4. So I pretty much got all. I've got all things covered. I've got a Daiwa Black Widow there, which is 12 foot, 1.5 pound, and that's model BWS 211. So that's £1.50. So I've got that covered. So I normally do use 2 rods. So here I have the Coram 12 foot, £2 barbel rod. Not overly impressed with them. I actually broke one on a snag, so says a lot, doesn't it? About Coram gear, if I'm being totally honest. And that's all I am honest. Right. Generally what I do is, if the river is at normal levels, you can, low, you can get away with £1.50. If it gets any higher and you're using bigger leads, then I wouldn't hesitate to going on to the, this is the Daiwa carp rod, and it's the Daiwa D carp rods, model DC 2234. Budget, absolutely ideal for the river. So I've got everything covered there. I sometimes do use 3 rods, so I could use 2 rods. I have a 3 rod license, so I can use 2 barbel rods and then float fish at the same time, which I'll probably do tomorrow. So yeah, and I'm going to, whilst I'm on, talk about these, and they're the new Guru Specialist N-Gauge reels. I do use a little bit of the Guru stuff, but I've not gone into the poles. I've just used the hooks and the terminal tackle, which I think is really good. As I say, I'm not sponsored. So these are ideal for barbel fishing. They don't come with a spare spool, but they're £60 each, and I think for that sort of money, matching it with the power mesh rod, and I've got tip tops on there, they're absolutely brilliant rods of the power mesh. Yeah, me everyday go-to rod really, and these are my everyday go-to reels. Bait runner, simple bait runner, slack, that's slack, that's tight. So simple bait runner that works. And if I'm fishing my rods up, what I do is I'll tighten up to the flow. If you understand if anybody used the bait runner, if you click your bait runner on and cast your rod out, let it settle where it's going to settle on the cast. Fishing a 6 foot, between 3 foot and 6 foot hook length, depending. And then when you cast in, what happens is your lead goes onto the bottom when it's found where it wants to be, if you're using a flat pair or a feed or whatever you're using. And once it's tightened up through the flow, I just put that on the bait runner, fish it onto a rod rest on the top, have my rods up high as I can, virtually straight up parallel if I can. Higher the better, I've found, because there's less lines in the water. So yeah, that's what I've found when I'm barbel fishing. So yeah, these are absolutely brilliant. Front drag, yeah, if you click that on, that's onto front drag, so that's pretty tight now. But that's how it needs to be. It needs to be tight for when you're winding in on the river. It's nothing like fishing on a pond. If you've got a soft gravelly bottom or anything like that. In a river, you've generally got flow. You've got tree branches, weed, rocks, stones, gravel, rubbish, tyres, you name it, it's in the river. So you're gonna lose gear. So pretty much when I'm fishing now, I just use I use 12-pound line on my reel and 10-pound hook length. I generally don't like to go any heavier than a 12-pound hook length because, sorry, a 10-pound hook length. For the simple reason is if you're going to pull for a break, it takes quite a lot to snap 10-pound line. 12-pound line can be a lot more of an issue. So if you're using 15-pound line, 12-pound line, I think you would get away with it on the 3/4 pound test curve, the 2 3/4 pound test curve. The 1 3/4 pound, the power mesh, I think 10 pounds pretty much about its maximum. I've not had any issues with that. I have with the Corum one. I did have 2 of these and I broke one. Pulling and I just pulled, snap. So yeah, I took it back to the shop. They said they were cheap, which they're not bad. They're not bad, but for me, not strong enough is what I'm saying. For a £2 rod, you can give the Daiwa rods are just better carbon. They're just better made. So yeah, that pretty much covers all my barbel fishing. I don't do a lot of float fishing, so this covers my float fishing. If I get more into my float fishing, I'll probably go a little bit longer on my rod, to 12 foot, but I have a 12 foot, but I might go to something just a little bit longer. But I find that for what I'm fishing and where I'm fishing, that 10 foot's going to be fine for now. I'm not overly bothered about that because this Daiwa rod has a multiple uses for me. I can use that for barbel fishing, I can use it for carp fishing, I can use it for light estuary fishing. So that rod is really good. And then my power meshes are specifically for the River Ribble, and my Black Widow is for if I want to use the quiver tip for something different. But what I find is if it's pulling hard, I have to take the quiver tip out and use the Avon. So if I'm going to do that, I might as well just use the 2 3/4. And then if I do hook into a decent barbel, then there's not going to be any issues with my rod. If I've got it, these come boxed. The only thing they don't come with is a spare spool, but the 60 quid each compared to with that, so you're looking for a combo. I support local, whatever. I don't really go off price, but you're probably looking, I don't know, 300, something like that for the rod and the reel. I just looked on eBay, I think. Yeah, you're about there by the time you put line on and stuff. You'll be about there. So yes, so that's pretty much it. The bait that I'm going to be taking with me, I'm taking a selection. of everything. So yeah, all I've done with this is put some maple syrup in and some sugar, boiled it up twice, softened it up, straight into the plastic bag. That'll go straight into my bake bag now. If I don't use it, I can bring it home, slam it straight in the freezer. Absolutely ideal, budget fishing. I've got some hemp, so I'll mix some hemp in that. I've had my hemp frozen of some sweet corn, so if I mix that all together, I can use seeds on the hook. I've got some turmeric. I don't even need to go to the tackle shop. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to dig myself a few worms and happy days. Alright, thank you people. It's from Dave at Something About Being Out. Hope you enjoyed this little talk. When I go out filming on my phone, it's not the best. It's a lot of wind and stuff. So it's from Dave at Something About Being Out. Cheers for watching. See you on the next live. Bye bye.